On today's episode, we are reacting to this high-scoring Week 3. We're sending guilty culprits to fantasy jail, and we're airing out some of our bad takes, and Milk was a bad choice. And trust me, Milk is gross this week because we're airing
It's
out
bad.
a lot.
I've got a full
of some
gallon of
takes here.
spoiled milk.
We fucked
Yes,
this week.
it's
We fucked
it's
up.
it's gonna be a good time. If you care a lot about fantasy football, you should be subscribing to this channel. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, click the like button, and turn on those notifications. We are coming to you 3 times a week. Sunday recaps,
3 times.
waiver wire analysis, and weekly matchup previews. Our matchup previews highlighted that the Dolphins may shred the Broncos if the Broncos plan to run man coverage. You could have heard it here first, and we said start Mostert with confidence. We did not call that DeVon Achane game, but we'll talk a little bit more about Mr. Achane in today's episode. So in week 1, we had our overreactions. In week 2, we had our emerging trends. And in week 3, it's time to take some action. It's time to make some trades. I asked both Aidan and Keegan to come forward with 3 to 4 priority buys and sells. And we're going to help you either turn around a 1-2 contender that's a sleeping giant, or we're going to help you capitalize on a 3-0 beauty. We're going to start with buys. Keegan, who are you buying after week 3?
All of my buys for the listeners today, they actually will all be rookies. And my thought process in this is the perfect time to buy rookies. This is like emergence time for rookies. Usually you get these post-buy bumps from rookies, but we're seeing some pretty early standouts, and I think it's a great time to buy on some of these players. One player I'm going to start with is Jordan Addison, because he was probably a prime buy candidate last week, emerging off 2 back-to-back weeks with touchdowns on limited touches. And of course, he doesn't score today. And now I think this is the perfect time to buy on Jordan Addison. They might be getting cold feet, or maybe they're just not happy with the consistency. But he starts with week 1, 6 targets, week 2 down to 5 targets, all the way up to 8 targets in week 3. It was very apparent from watching the game that as it went on and it stayed close, like Jordan Addison was very involved in the Vikings' attempt to come back today. Kirk Cousins was targeting him often and wanted him involved. It was just a perfect kind of situation for him to emerge as what I have always, and the 3 of us have perceived, as that should be their wide receiver 2, right? There's still a lot of KJ Osborne usage, which I think makes the case for buying Jordan Addison still strong, because people can look at that. Maybe your buddy in your league's like, well, he's not getting the run that he wants, but I think it's the best time to buy him right now. Off a week he doesn't score. This is an offense that's going to continue to be one of the most pass happy in the NFL. And you're now getting a discounted price off the guy who's already scored 2 touchdowns in his first 3 weeks.
I'm all in on Addison. He was my start of the week in week 3. Didn't necessarily deliver the performance I thought he would, but he was targeted pretty heavily towards the end of that game. What's going on with Minnesota? They're now 0-3. They're looking like a sneaky Caleb target here.
This is the same team as last year, though. I mean, this is the team that won 9 games by 1 point or less. It had to happen.
Older and worse. I've been saying this.
Addison's going to play. If it turns into we're pushing our cards in for next season, it's going to be Addison heavily featured, in my opinion, right? You know, you phase in the rookie, understand what you got, work on development, and he looks the part. He looks legit. He can win deep. He can win intermediate. And Kirk, the garbage time Kirk experience it's been incredible. I mean, the guy has
he's
he
on
number
pace
2
to
in
break
passing yards?
every single NFL record.
I'm not the biggest Kirk supporter, but his team's not helping him at all this year. He looks really good. I mean, making a lot of confident throws. His wide receivers get involved.
His first half was awful. Like, you're going to jail. And then the second half was like, Kirk, welcome to the game, brother. He's throwing, 50-yard bombs. You're like, here he is. Like, there he is. But yeah, no, the defense is crap. The line's not that great. It's an old roster. And we kind of knew this, and they kind of are pushing everything in with a team that's probably not ready to be pushed all in. So it's an interesting team, to say the least.
He's got a 70% completion percentage. He has 1,075 passing yards. He has 9 touchdowns and 2 picks. Wow.
He's
I
going
heard
crazy.
Stephen
Good
Reeves,
player.
who does like the quarterback rankings, is like Kirk's been wildly good, but who cares? It's like a senior returning back to like the Turkey Bowl game, or like your college graduate dominating high school. He's like, you had your time, Kirk. Like we get it. It's too late for this development. I think Addison's a great buy. I have a couple people that I think you could sell for Jordan Addison a little bit later on, and I think we'll get into the more like the mechanisms of how these trades could work. Before I reveal my first buy, Aidan, who are you buying after week 3?
So actually, this is a guy that hasn't played in week 3 yet. And by the time week 3 is done with, I think it might be too late, and that's AJ Brown. I think a lot of fantasy owners are quite
this is a
upset
good one.
with his production thus far. But I kind of think there's no need to panic. If you're a team that has AJ Brown and you've kind of come out of the gate slow, like I totally get it. You probably took him in the first round, or if you're in a 10 team, you maybe got him at that wrap. And there's a good chance you're 0-2, going on 0-3 because of his production. He still leads his team in targets. This offense is going to find their footing. I don't think we realized how big of an impact the play calling and like the scheme was going to kind of impact how the Eagles came out of the gate. And we're definitely seeing it, especially in the passing game. The run game, like we saw last week with DeAndre Swift going nuclear, looks plenty fine, which, like the Eagles don't care for our fantasy teams or whatnot. But the passing game is going to take a little to figure out. And once it does, AJ Brown's going to go crazy. So this is a pretty nice buy low candidate. It's definitely cheating here as he hasn't played yet this week. And again, it might be too late because it might be the AJ Brown, 2-tutty 100-yard show on Monday night tomorrow. So AJ Brown, buy low for sure.
This is a good one because, like, I don't want to use the word praying, but yes, like keying in on your league mates, like disappointment in top draft picks that can probably feel, because you will, like you agree, Aiden, you would have to give up a sizable return to get somebody like
For
AJ
sure.
Brown. But if your
Yeah.
team is built well, you can go after your like league mate that's just so upset with him. Like this, I think this is a great buy candidate right now.
I'm with you. If anyone's willing to give up AJ Brown, it kind of feels like the squeaky wheel narrative. He's gonna have a massive game in week 3 after
Yep.
chatting it out with Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
I have one that I think would make Warren Buffett really upset with me, because remember, Warren Buffett says, "Be fearful when people are greedy, and be greedy when people are fearful." So this isn't great. This would also be like buying the top, like buying Bitcoin in November of 2021. But I don't really care here. I'm buying DeVon Achane. I don't care that he just scored 52
Wow.
fantasy points. I don't care that he just had 212 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't care if he had 4 catches for 30 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't care if he did it all on people's benches, because no one started DeVon Achane this week after he had like 2 touches the first 2 weeks of the season. However here, if you are looking the splits between him and Raheem Mostert, my goodness, Mostert looks great. As a former 49er,
So
God, I'm
annoying.
so happy
So
for
annoying.
Raheem Mostert here. But here's how the splits broke out between these two in weeks 3. Achane, 42% of the snaps, 43% of the attempts, 39% of the routes, 14% of the targets. Mostert, 51% of the snaps, 31% of the attempts, 64% of the routes, 25% of the targets. So Mostert still was the lead back in this situation. However, the playmaking was elite. He was on the same field as Tyreek Hill, where I'm like, is that Tyreek? Did Tyreek just take a handoff? And it's like, that's a different player than Tyreek Hill, who moves like Tyreek Hill. The size doesn't look like an issue at all. This Miami offense is an absolute wagon. They are so dialed in here. And, Jeff Wilson's coming back in 2 weeks. I don't know who that hurts. I don't know how this is going to shake out, but I want to bet on a ascendant rookie talent like DeVon Achane, and you might have somebody in your league who's going to come over and try and sell high on him because he just had this monster week. I am willing to sell high, buy high, like on this type of player, this type of athlete. Like, go out there and acquire DeVon Achane, because what he did today was special. Cat's out of the bag. And I'm sorry, Salvon Ahmed is not coming back in that bag, right? That's over, okay? So
He may not
buy
be
DeVon
active
Achane.
going forward once Jeff Wilson's back. Like, that's probably looking like a healthy scratch. Like, there's no way they're keeping all of them like active, probably.
And this is Keegan's guy, so I know that today was probably a special moment for you to watch.
I
Achane
have
do
this.
his
I
thing.
have this as a buy as well too. And like typically when we're like recommending buys, it's players that your like league mates are disgruntled with. Like typically you don't try and buy the guy that just exploded for 50 points, but you could almost try and spin zone it as like he's a rookie, like could be one off. Like there are ways to get around like paying an extreme price for him. But I also have this as buy high. And one thing that I tried to hit home on for the listeners, and as we went through the rookie draft process, was like DeVon Achane is, yes, a insane athlete, very fast, and he fits really well in this offense. So this is prior to even knowing that he went to Miami. I try to hit home on the fact that he's not just a one-trick pony. He's not a speed guy. He can play in between the tackles. You can trust this guy. We have visual proof of him doing this in the SEC against plenty of future NFL
LSU
talent. Like
against that LSU game.
This is a guy who was regularly being a three down thumper in his offensive scheme in the SEC, and now he gets a match made in heaven offense. And you're right, Aidan. Like Jeff Wilson could be like healthy scratch territory, or if Mostert does get banged up, but Achane is not the one that comes out of this offense. And what's even crazier is they played this game without Waddle, and Waddle, Achane, Hill, the speed element of that offense together on the field clicking, it's going to be even like more special than what we saw today. Will he ever have a 55-point outing again? Maybe not. But does he have 20 burgers in his bag frequently, like as a potential outcome? Yes. I love this. I have this as a buy too.
You go into any week, and he's your RB2, and your RB2, you can say with a realistic shot, he can score 50 points in a game. I'm not saying he's going to do it, but you know that he can. You're going to take that every day of the week.
Yep.
I don't want to buy high in a lot of situations, but I'm going to recommend Achane to all of you.
The Dolphins are straight up embarrassing defenses. Like we mentioned, like I specifically mentioned that there was
disrespectful.
Maybe some catch up like last year, like teams would key on what the Chargers did and they changed the defense they played. Nope. Mike McDaniel
Tua
has so ignored all of that.
Tua is so dialed.
It's scary.
It is he didn't miss a pass in the first half. He walked into the half absolutely spotless. I don't know if he was touched. Like the line is playing well. The wide receivers are getting space.
He's getting running backs out so touched. Fast.
It is unbelievable what they were doing.
Did you guys see that Sean Payton last year said Tua was going to get benched, or was it 2 years ago or something?
Yeah,
and
for Teddy.
I saw that afterwards, and I was like, "Wow!" And
Tua's
Mr. Chip on his shoulder this year. Tua is dialed. That's another guy. No one's selling Tua right now, but he is dialed. If anyone's willing to get off of him,
I'm not selling Tua. If I'm a Tua, he's special right now.
Dialed.
Absolutely special.
I'm gonna double up here because I know that Keegan's gonna have another rookie. But okay, this guy has not. This guy has not played a game yet this season. He is 0 for 3.
Are you gonna
3 weeks? He has not been able to go out there yet. Okay. Christian Watson has not been able to play yet this season. Okay. So Christian Watson has had a bulky hamstring. He has not played this season. It's been highly, highly, highly frustrating if you've drafted Christian Watson like I have in half of my redraft leagues. However, going into the season, there were 2 arguments against Christian Watson. It was, 1, he scores a lot of touchdowns, and do we think that the Packers are going to be able to score touchdowns? And 2, Jordan Love is probably not that good. Jordan Love is a little rough around the edges. He misses some deep throws. He's making some kind of Shaqtin' a fool moments, but I don't think he's bad. Like I honestly think that fourth quarter comeback that he had was ridiculous, and he played with a lot more heart than the bad man who's injured, so we won't say anything bad about Aaron Rodgers. But he played with a lot of like grit, determination. I loved that performance from Love. Back against the wall, down 17 in his home stadium against a loaded Saints defense. I think Love is good. I think the Packers are going to continue scoring touchdowns. They've had no issues scoring touchdowns. I think Love has like 8 touchdowns already on the season, and they're doing this without their premier playmaker in Christian Watson. I am frustrated with Watson. Some people are probably even more frustrated with him and don't want him. They're already calling him the next Will Fuller, which is kind of apropos. Long touchdowns and hamstring injuries. Shout out Will Fuller. Never forget. But come on, Watson is going to be dynamic. Try and trade somebody who's actually playing and doing well that you think might fall off. Bring in Christian Watson to the roster. Somebody might be really impatient at this point and ready to go. I think it's a total buy low opportunity for someone I think he's going to smash.
You're in so deep, but
so deep.
But I agree. I completely agree. This is another frustrated owner type one, kind of like the AJ Brown one's different because he's been playing. This is very similar. If someone in your league is struggling and they're benching, like they need immediate production, and you've kind of got the assets to do so, yeah, go flip someone that you think is going to fall off for Christian Watson. He has wide receiver one, like possibilities, like top 10 guy on a weekly basis when he's healthy. So, no, I like it. The hamstring concerns are an issue in back-to-back years. Like guys like that, it just feels like they always pop back up. So like, there is risk. There is absolute risk to this player now that we've done this 2 years in a row. But we've seen his tape, and it's pretty special.
I'm in. I hate it, but it's like, hey, we slow played this hamstring recovery just to make sure we're out there for the rest of the season. He got injured with that hamstring last year. It didn't pop up again, so fingers crossed. Aidan, who is your next buy here?
I'm going to dive in and take one of the rookies I have because I think Keegan might do it if I don't. This is our guy, man. We were in his corner the entire draft process. This was our favorite QB going into the class.
Yeah.
He should have gone 1-1. Week 2 was special. Week 3, CJ Stroud is here to stay. He is a weekly start from here on out. This kid is poised, dude. That's a good Jaguars defense, and he picked them apart with ease, man. 20 for 30, 280 yards and 2 tutties. Sure, one of them was a 60, 70-yard open pass to Tank Dell. But, man, this kid belongs. He should have been the first quarterback off the board. When you look at what he's done versus Bryce Young, granted, Bryce didn't play today, obviously, because he's already hurt and he's tiny. These guys don't have much different supporting cast. You could argue the Panthers probably have a better supporting cast around him on offense, and CJ Stroud's playing on easy mode the last 2 weeks. He's been QB 13 last week and QB 10 this week. This is a guy that's like, he's starting, like he's in your lineup going forward at this point. Like you probably have him on a team with like, a Jared Goff or like, like some of those quarterbacks around like the 10 range. No, CJ Stroud's in your lineup, man. I'm absolutely trying to buy him. He's probably still on some of your waiver wires too. Like this is going to be a top priority this week. Like this is not fool's gold after 2 solid weeks in a row. This guy is so comfortable in the pocket. He might be the one to break the Ohio State curse. This kid is fucking good. I love watching him play quarterback in the NFL.
So it's capitulation time. I was Team Bryce over Team CJ. I had this in milk was a bad choice, but let's just do this now.
Let's get it out of the way.
Let's say the quiet part out. Let's say the quiet part out loud. Andy Dalton had 29 real fantasy points today in the year of 2023 with the same supporting cast that Bryce Young has been playing with.
Yep.
Bryce Young had 20 in 2 combined starts. CJ Stroud looks like a dude. Capital D, dude. Bryce Young doesn't look like he's athletic enough to play on an NFL field. Now, I'm not going to stick a fork in Bryce yet. His supporting cast blows. Straight up blows. There's no other way to describe it, in my opinion. And the Texans have actually built a really cool receiving core with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, John Mechie, Robert Woods. A lot of guys that are actually pretty good receivers. So I think they've given CJ Stroud a good landing spot. But I'm capitulating majorly on Stroud. Dude has it. He has it.
Absolutely.
He's going to be a quarterback in the NFL. He has it. He's good.
I had this down too, so I'll obviously go to a different one. But just like Aidan's monologue got me fired up about CJ Stroud. Like everything he said is so true. I mean, the guy has 900 passing yards in his first 3 NFL games as a rookie. And I made a note of this too, because people obviously play in different league formats. If you're in a 1 QB league, like this is a cheap acquisition for you to like shore up your bench spot, especially if you play in like or waiver
waivers. Yeah.
And if you're in a super flex league, this is a fantastic buy candidate. That's exactly why I would highlight them, because I feel like often we focus on one specific type of league here. So I want to show love to the super flex players, and this is a good buy now candidate. More rookies here, and since we've covered running back, we've covered wide receiver, and we've covered quarterback, I feel like it's only fitting to also recommend another guy of ours at the tight end position and tell you to go buy Sam LaPorta. His usage, like throughout the first 2 games, has been really encouraging. He's obviously like a target hog type tight end, but today that breakthrough moment where he catches the deep touchdown on just like a good schemed up play by the Lions, like that was it for me. I was like, he's fully arrived. First off, no tight end. I'm going to say this slowly. No tight end in the history of the NFL has more receptions in their first 3 games in the history of the
Beat
NFL.
me to it.
Like,
he's also second in yards through 3 too. Like he is debunking the rookie tight end myth. Like he's
a huge part
legit.
of their offense.
He's
a
legit.
huge part of their offense.
A focal point of it. I mean, obviously ARSB has his role, and they get their other wide receivers involved. Like Khalif Raymond's involved, like Josh Reynolds is involved. But like the next most important piece of their pass catching core is already Sam LaPorta through 3 games. Tight end is such an awful position to go to bat with like every week, and it sucks, dude. Like you start Darren Waller thinking he has top 5 upside, and he ends up with 5 points. Like Mark Andrews doesn't cross the double digit like playing this week. Kittle had a good week, and Kelsey had a good week, but it's like that every week. And Sam LaPorta is such a cheap fantasy buy just because of the position he plays. Like nobody in your league is going to ask for a haul of players for Sam LaPorta. Like it's a reasonable ask to go out and get him, and he's most likely somebody's second tight end, and people would probably feel overjoyed to get a trade for a tight end. And I'm telling you, this is such a good talent to just acquire. And I honestly think he's already a set it and forget it tight end, because the way tight end position is in fantasy, you have duds from even Kelsey has a dud week. Mark Andrews has dud weeks. Like there are very few players though that I feel comfortable every week starting. I don't care that Waller had 5 points. I'll start him again next week. And Sam LaPorta is already in that territory for me. I will start him every week for the rest of the year. I think he's a great buy candidate, especially at a position that most people don't typically go out and buy for. You're not shopping tight ends often, and there's a hot one on the market right now. So go get it before it sells out.
He's a dog.
I'm with you there. He's so involved in this offense. I think that the arrow is completely pointing up. Do we know if Jamison Williams is ever going to be a thing for this team? I don't know. And
I don't think it matters.
You guys,
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, dude,
I don't think it does either.
You hit on the lines. I have another line here that I think is a great buy low. I think you should go acquire Jahmyr Gibbs. It's been a little hit or miss to start so far through 3 weeks. Like 9 points, 12 points. I think he had another like 10 points today. So not RB1 production, which is what a lot of people drafted Jahmyr Gibbs in the 3rd round to be. But we got to see him look like a bell cow today in terms of opportunity. He had like 17, 18 attempts. And it was really quality running in between the tackles. I was a little frustrated with the usage. I thought they'd, maybe pass him the ball more, get him some more outside runs to really get him going. But they just said, fuck your 28% target share that you had in week 2. We're running you through the tackles, and we're going to establish the goddamn run game. And I thought he did really good. And again, we haven't seen his massive game yet. I think we're really close. He had a couple runs where he broke it off, and it looked like he was going to house it. Maybe the Falcons have a good run defense. They've actually looked pretty competent through 3 weeks, the Falcons defense. But why should you be buying Jahmyr Gibbs is because at the end of the season, when he's really maturing as an NFL player, he has this remaining schedule on his season: Chicago, Green Bay, New Orleans, Chicago, Denver, Minnesota, and Dallas. That's his run to end out the season. Those are fantastic matchups for Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, I don't want to pick on Chicago, but their run defense is not
the whole
not
defense. The whole defense. Throw it away.
So I don't know. We've all drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. Are we trading Jahmyr Gibbs? Like, are we cool with that? Are we just gonna wait? I don't know. It's been a little frustrating, but
I don't think I'm buying him. But if I own him in the league, and I'm definitely holding. We've seen what he can do. It just feels like the usage is a little puzzling, and it just like hasn't quite clicked yet. But
he's kind of an interesting buy candidate for me, because I could almost argue the sell part as well. Like if I got a hot Jahmyr Gibbs week and somebody wanted to buy into the rookie hype, like Shaun is advocating for, which I totally agree with the process of like buying Jahmyr Gibbs. Me, Gibbs owner in 2 leagues, if I wanted to like maybe diversify my portfolio and somebody offered me like something spicy, I would have to think long and hard about it. But he could be both. He could be both. I like the idea of buying him now though. Like while Monty is still going to be out maybe another week. We're not sure yet, but I like the fact that he was very much the focal point of the run game this week. Didn't do a ton with it, but I think that makes it an easier buy almost.
And the last rookie that I have here, just really quickly, I have Tank Dell. And
I
again,
had this one too.
Okay. I advocated for him big time in the waiver wire section. I said he was the priority waiver wire pickup. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 145 yards, 1 touchdown, 25.5 fantasy points for Tank Dell on my bench against Aidan. This isn't like a part-time player, right? This isn't a gadget guy. This is a guy who's out there for 84% of the routes, and he has 56% of the air yards. It was a rough Nico day today. We all love Nico, who could be a sell candidate. I don't know if I'd do it, but Tank looks great. If we're buying CJ Stroud, we're buying Tank Dell, baby.
I mean,
Like,
small sample
simple
size,
as
but he's
that.
averaging basically 8.5 targets in 2 weeks.
Package deal. Yep.
So legit. It's so legit for Tank Dell.
Aidan, do you have another buy still? Because I have a couple quick hit rookies before we get to sell, but
I'll do 2 quick hitters real fast. One more rookie. I think Quentin Johnston is a screaming buy. What happened to Mike Williams? Like, I'm kind of assuming the worst. Just looking at the replay, watching him get carted off, like, I'm pretty much assuming Mike Williams is done for the year, which means Quentin Johnston's going to be thrust into a huge role. Quentin Johnston hasn't done anything this year, just to, like,
is he ready for the bright lights?
I don't know, but
it's the Josh Palmer show again.
The opportunity's gonna be there. So I think he's a buy. And then I think an unpopular buy that people have actually warmed up to is Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara is set to return next week, with Jamal Williams headed to the IR. Kendre Miller looked fine. Tony Jones
Pedestrian, maybe.
Tony Jones. Alvin Kamara the last 5 years has been RB 16, 8, 1, 9, and 4. Sure, the end of last year was pretty ugly. I know, I get it. But Alvin Kamara is going to play a huge role in that offense. I know people don't want to admit it, but like, it is going to happen. It is going to happen. So Alvin Kamara is probably dirt cheap too. He's just been sitting on the bench for people. If you're short at running back and really need something, Alvin Kamara is definitely a buy candidate. But it's risky. It's not one that's going to sit right with you. But you absolutely have to consider it, given how the backfield is shaken out through 3 games.
When you buy Alvin Kamara and then you get Taysom Hill, it's going to be generational, man.
Taysom Hill.
It's going to be generational.
He's a Hall of Fame vulture. He's a Hall of Fame vulture.
If Alvin Kamara is as good as he's looked, I guess, to people around the Saints, it could be legit. Remember, Jameis Winston doesn't really target running backs, though. That was or what was it? Dalton? I don't know. I forget. There's been so many quarterbacks now with the Saints that I forget the whole breakdown with Kamara.
So before we get into sells, just 2 quick hits, and these might be guys that are potentially dropped at this point, and these are really, really buy low candidates because they're cheap. Go acquire Charbonnet and take Bigsby. Nice. Just go do it before it's like too expensive. Like Charbonnet has picking up in usage. He played 44% of snaps today. Kenneth Walker played 49. Like I thought today I saw a glimpse of what we thought the backfield was going to look like, where it's kind of like thunder, lightning, like a different approach from both running backs. And the usage, I think, for Sharp is only going to increase, and he will his role will be much better. I think he's a better buy candidate than Tank Bigsby, but Tank Bigsby for me is like you're an ETN owner or you just want another guy with rookie upside. I mean, he gets in the end zone today, finally see him get some touches. I just think those are really cheap buy low candidates that are great depth adds. And also, if you're an owner of their starting running back, I feel like you should probably own them.
Yeah, I agree. I would lean Sharp out of the 2. That run he had where he just truck stick the guy and almost scored, I was like, that was sweet.
He looks cool.
Involved.
He looks cool today.
I felt something, yeah. So I'd be more aggressively going for Sharp. I think Bigsby should definitely be on your radar.
Go pick them up if they got dropped. Okay, it's not all rosy. We have to sell some people to acquire some of these wide receivers. Some of these players.
Let's do it. Get rid of them.
It's time to sell Garret Wilson.
Damn it, I have him too. And it made me sad typing it out, dude. It made me really sad, actually, because we were all such big fans. Shaun, sorry to hijack you. Take it away.
Yeah, no, I mean, after the game, the Jets are committed to Zach Wilson. That's Robert Saleh's. That's his drumbeat. And at best, you're going to get wide receiver 2 production.
That's exactly what
at best.
With wide receiver 1 volume, because he's going to get 10 targets a week. He got home with a big TD last week, and that felt like a miracle. And every time something good happens, like a reception, it feels like a miracle. maybe if Carson Wentz is coming through that door, or I hopefully not Matt Ryan, because that'd be a bummer. I think I'd rather watch Zach Wilson than Matt Ryan. I don't know. Unless there's an upgrade at quarterback, someone might want to buy name brand. Maybe you can package him with somebody else. But if he has a big week next week, I would try and get off of it, because it's just rough. It's rough. Fantasy is about having fun. It's not about watching the Jets offense right now, and it is not fun.
I think you made a good point. I think you need to wait for like a 20-point week, because the value is pretty low right now. Like if I was approached with a Garret Wilson offer, I'm probably not even negotiating. Like it's like the arrow is trending in the wrong direction, and it's dark, and it's just super unfortunate. Like, and it has nothing to do with Garret Wilson as the player, which is the most frustrating. It is Garret Wilson's environment that is completely zapped. What we thought could potentially be a dark horse wide receiver 1 overall is now, he's a weekly like fringe wide receiver 2, and it's
2022. Garret Wilson was the wide receiver 60, I believe, when Zach Wilson played in 2022, and he was the wide receiver 8 when either Flacco or Mike White played.
Crazy.
The range of outcomes for Garret Wilson is not something that I think you want to deal with for a 17 or 16 game fantasy season. So I agree. You might need to wait to get a little bit of value back on Garret, but
They got Denver week 5, KC KC week 4.
Yeah.
That is a rough schedule.
I'm going to piggyback off Shaun here. I've got another year 2 wide receiver that I'm getting out from it. It's Drake London.
How dare you?
It's not going to happen, gentlemen. The Drake London dream that we all talked ourselves into is not happening. Arthur Smith doesn't give a shit about us.
Feels more like a nightmare than a dream.
Desmond Ridder he's just not good, man. This was a fear we had. It was like the running game is going to be just fine, but can Desmond Ridder elevate his pass catchers? And I think we have figured out through 3 weeks. The answer is no.
It's a big resounding no.
6 targets, 2 catches for 31 yards today. That's gross. That is gross for a guy that was getting taken in like the 3rd and 4th round.
We need the Heineke Hive. Hive. Like we straight up.
I'm more patient with Kyle Pitts, in my opinion. I almost did a BOGO here and put them together. I would almost be willing to buy Kyle Pitts. He's still recovering from his injury, and the volume is actually ramping up in terms of targets and production. I'm not going to do it, but I didn't BOGO them. Drake London though, it's like this is a Garret Wilson one. It's like the dude is uber talented, but his environment absolutely like zaps his upside, and it's someone that you spent a ton of draft capital on. So yeah, it's a bummer. I'm sorry, Drake London, but you're on my sell list.
I saw the Falcons on a critical 3rd and long, 3rd and 6, on a 3rd and 6, like in field goal range. They're down like 10 points. They did a shotgun draw. I was like, there's no hope. We're so done. We're so dead. We're so dead. And I was like,
want to make things worse, just like thinking about it. Desmond Ridder threw the ball 38 times today. And dude, that's maybe going to be the highest career attempts he has like for a long time. He threw the ball 38 times today, and either Pitts or London got home today, dude.
What is this offense?
Not even close. Not even close.
6 draw.
And Arthur Smith didn't look happy about calling it. So I was like, is Arthur just...
Is he trolling us? Is he trolling us? Like,
I don't think he wants to play this way. Like, that's my hot take. I don't think he's super juiced with this style of football.
Jonnu Smith got 8 targets today. Jonnu Smith got 8 targets today.
It's got to stop.
I know.
Oh my god.
Since we're selling
2 and 1.
Yeah, 2 and 1, right?
2 and 1.
Since we're selling wide receivers, I'll go to my wide receiver sell. Get out before things go bad and sell yourself some Amari Cooper after a big Sunday.
Whoa, okay. I like that.
Whoa.
Sell yourself some Amari Cooper. Great value. He is obviously the preferred wide receiver in this offense. Like Elijah Moore, insert they are who we thought they were, GIF. That he's not stealing anything from Amari Cooper. After seeing Deshaun Watson get spun around and throw a football directly towards his own end zone, I just sat there and thought to myself, like, okay, no, he's officially bad. And I'll give him credit for hitting Amari on a deep touchdown. But people were saying like Deshaun Watson had his best game since he came back. I'm like, if you watch the first half and make that assessment about Deshaun Watson off of like a half of football, then I don't think we're watching the same kind of football. But this is a great time to get off of Amari Cooper because he's a good wide receiver. And this is a hard sell candidate for somebody who maybe like have a weaker room, but you could get some good value for Amari Cooper. I mean, you could turn that into a very productive player. And his value is good right now. He's coming off a big play with that touchdown this week. Next week, they've got Baltimore, then they've got a bye week, and then they've got San Francisco. For the next 3 weeks. So you get 1 week of maybe decent blow-up game against him in Baltimore. You get a week without him, and then you get SF after that week without him. So you may be getting 0 weeks of productive Amari Cooper over the next 3. I just feel like now is as great a time as any to sell.
I actually, in Milk Was a Bad Choice, was going to admit to having Cooper be a massive whiff as my fade at wide receiver. He's so fucking good, dude. I mean, I get it. It's good, sell high. Like, it's just the best performance he has, but he is so freaking good. Like, he is so
he's amazing.
Ridiculously talented.
Maybe the most underrated wide receiver in the NFL. Like, arguably.
Might be, dude.
I don't know if I'm selling, but the timing is, like, if you have a good stable of wide receivers, like there's no better time to flip him for, you know, maybe a running back or something. So I think like the timing is great, but I do think like his volume is going to remain, I think, pretty consistent. Like he's going to receive probably 6 to 8 targets or more.
Yeah. And I'm not even considering him as somebody who will like regress and be unproductive. But like, if I'm just looking at his next 3 weeks where you're not going to get him for one, he has to play San Francisco for one of those, like tough stretch. And if you don't have the depth to replace him in those 3 weeks, like you should be examining your roster and thinking like, okay, well, what could I get back for him? You know, like you can maybe get a wide receiver plus something else by selling Amari Cooper. So it's not an easy sell, but I think that's a good value sell.
There you go.
All right. I like it. I have 2 veteran wide receivers that I want to sell, and then we'll get to the big sell because Aidan and I are going to get after it. I'll start with the one that I don't think people are thinking to sell, and I think you should sell Courtland Sutton.
I actually almost did Courtland Sutton.
Okay. So Courtland Sutton had a great game today, but Jerry Jeudy's snaps are trending up. Marvin Mims has been the best player on the Broncos this season, and the coaching staff refuses to play him for reasons I do not know and do not understand. I think as Mims' snaps start to increase, we're going to see Sutton's snaps decrease, and I think we're going to see Jerry Jeudy remain in the slot. Again, he just had a 8 for 11, 92 in 1 touchdown game, but he did a lot of that in garbage time. I don't know. Like, we've been doing this with Courtland Sutton for a long time. What are the odds? Is that he hurts you or he is really good for the rest of the season? He hasn't been good for 4 or 5 years. He's only hurt you for 4 or 5 years. Sell high after a great performance. Get off of anyone in this offense that isn't Marvin Mims. That's kind of where I'm approaching Sutton.
Yep, I agree. His, like, just like year over year too, like his stats with and without Jeudy are pretty alarming. Like the fact that he hit home today with Jeudy, like sell high immediately. Like it's not gonna get any better.
It needs to be Mims, man. Mims needs to play.
It's not gonna get any better than this.
And then the other veteran receiver I had was DJ Moore. So big fan of DJ. I've been drafting DJ since he was a rookie.
How do you sell him right now?
Well, here's how I'm gonna pitch it. Here's how I'm going to pitch it.
You can't.
Okay, so Fields could pop at any time. I think Fields honestly could. He looks lost and broken, but he looks lost and broken for the first 6 weeks of last year, and then he went nuclear for 10 weeks. So we know it's in there. Same offensive coordinator, better weapons, etc. And DJ really hasn't been bad. He scored 16 fantasy points in week 2. He scored 13 fantasy points in garbage time, whatever. So decent, like, wide receiver 3 numbers in back-to-back weeks. He's got a really good slate of upcoming matchups here. So the Bears are going to be playing the Broncos, the Commanders, the Vikings, the Raiders, and the Chargers. So those are all relatively, really fantasy-friendly. Honestly, I'm not pitching him as like a buy right now. But
Yeah. Do you talk yourself back in there?
I'm already talking myself there.
You can see his brain waves kind of trickling. He was like, "Wait, do I have him in the wrong section?"
Oh my God, he might be a buy. Okay, so you could sell the schedule plus DJ Moore's solid fantasy outings as a positive, but the only reason I want to sell DJ Moore right now is the vibes are atrocious. The vibes were atrocious last year for him when Sam Darnold and PJ Walker and Baker Mayfield were thrown on the rock. They're atrocious so far this year. Maybe DJ Moore's just bad vibes. Maybe he's a good dude. I don't know, but maybe it's just bad vibes to have him on the fantasy squad. Might be time. He went off last year down the stretch for a lot of people, but I don't know, man. I think I'd be pretty happy to get a bear off my squad at this point. It's just
the vibes are bad. The vibes are really, really bad. That offense, dude,
it's atrocious.
That offense,
Justin Fields got killed today.
It's pulling teeth, dude. Like watching them play football is truly bad. It's bad. It's really bad.
They spent all offseason trying to make Justin Fields a pocket passer, and it didn't work. So now they're just going back to the drawing board. So
I don't know how much you're going to get from him, which is the issue right now. Just to kind of piggyback off that, like, I think you wait 1 week because I think Justin Fields is like 1 week away from being a sell candidate as well. If they can't hit home against Denver next week, who just gave up 70 points, like, throw the whole offense out. Like, because I think the offense could pop next week and kind of be a get right game for them, at least in terms of offense. I don't even believe that they can win the game. Who knows? Maybe they can. But if they can't get anything going against Denver, I think Justin Fields, DJ Moore, like the entire offense, you kind of want to cleanse your entire roster of the Chicago Bears stench.
Aidan, why don't you take it away for your major sell high? I mean, your major, I guess, sell high for him.
I have to. I hate him. I have faded him all summer. He actually
hate him. You hate the player, not the person. All right, this man
hate him
just got disparaged.
No.
Okay, for some gnarly things.
I hate him as a player.
Disassociate from that vibe.
Yeah, no. Everyone, stop sending him mean messages. I'm sure he's actually a great guy, but
send mean messages to Aidan. Okay.
Send me messages to me. I've been getting them all day.
Oh man, I just realized who we're talking about. Holy,
it's Alexander Mattison. Nice. It's Alexander.
He said,
Mattison,
"I hate him." I'm like,
it's Alexander Mattison. The dude's just not good at football, and I've been saying this since January. Alexander Mattison, he's just not a very good football player, man. Every time you watch him touch the ball, he's either fumbling, going down by the first guy that touches him, tripping on the turf. It is so brutal watching him play football. And today he kind of hit home. He actually had a decent game. 20 carries for 93 yards, which was much better than his yearly average coming to this of 3 yards a carry. He caught a couple balls too. Was RB10. Great week for Alexander Mattison. Cam Akers is on the way. Ty Chandler, it reminds me of watching like Jalen Warren versus Najee Harris right now. Ty Chandler touched the ball 3 times for 27 yards, and every time he was running the ball, I'm like, holy crap, this guy's got juice. Like, it's just so much more exciting watching this guy touch the football because we're just watching this slug that is Alexander Mattison out there. I'm getting out. I'm getting out from out. Well, first of all, I don't own him. I don't own him because I wouldn't do it. It was like a no under any circumstances. But it's time to sell high. This offense doesn't care about running the football. He's not very good. And Cam Akers, whether you like it or not, is probably equally as mid, but is going to probably carve out like half of that role. So it's get out from it. Get out from it right now. Perfect sell high candidate.
So I have these notes on Mattison because I had him as a sell. Just traded for Cam Akers. Vikings can't really run the ball, and they don't want to run the ball. The only reason you would be playing Mattison is because of volume, and he got the volume this week against the Chargers in a plus matchup, and he turned that into a nice 18-point outing. He probably should have scored more. He had some goal line opportunities that he wasn't able to cash in on. The Vikings continue to say we're committed to Alex as our lead back, but this guy continues to drop passes, and most importantly, he's fumbling the ball.
Yep.
He is not good enough to fumble. There is now Cam Akers' competition. If you were going to sell after an 18-point outing, it's probably the time to do it.
You guys didn't do a very good job of selling him.
I'm not touching him. Yeah, no,
he looks like Dalvin Cook, right?
I-
he's
Yeah,
got
there you go.
the
See, that's
vibes. There
how
he
you
is.
sell.
Yeah, he hit some
just
big
a really
runs.
bad version.
Easiest sell of the week, which feels like an absolute no-brainer, and we actually highlighted his backfield partner as a buy, but he should have been a sell last week.
Do it.
Sell after week 1, but go sell Raheem Mostert.
I won't do it. I won't do it.
I
Even though I should.
I
It
might
is
not
my
either,
best
but-
interest to do it.
if we are serious about what we think will happen with DeVon Achane, and like Aidan brought this up too, like Jeff Wilson will get in the fold, and like to assume that Jeff Wilson or Raheem Mostert will has a healthy scratch, I think is a little bit outlandish. I know Mike McDaniels likes both of them, but that's a lot of workload to split up for 3 people. Somebody's going to lose it. I also just think Raheem Mostert he's what, 31 now, Shaun, or 30?
31.
Yeah, I think 30.
He's got a CVS receipt of injuries in his career. It's long as long gets when it comes to injury history. So you never know when something could happen to the guy. And I mean, he just went fucking ballistic today. 82 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground, 60 yards receiving on 7 receptions on
He's
7
so freaking
targets.
good. He's
I
so
mean,
freaking good.
I don't know if
good.
his value
He's so
will
good.
ever be higher. And I'm not advising you, if you are thin
Never.
at running back, to sell somebody like this. But there will never be a better point than after this game to sell somebody like this. Jahmyr Gibbs is a great person we were talking about. Like, you could get Jahmyr Gibbs plus for Raheem Mostert probably right now. Like, there are options to shore up the rest of your team by trading away somebody who just had one of the best performances, which sounds outlandish. I get it. You don't want to trade people who just put up 45 fantasy points, but this is the day or the time, I guess, to sell them.
You go acquire the 22-year-old rookie, and then you sell the 31-year-old veteran with an injury history. I mean, honestly, that's probably how you should do it. You know?
While we're talking about Mostert, I would like to publicly apologize for myself and Shaun for talking you into Josh Kelly over Raheem Mostert. Talk about milk, dude. It felt like such a no-brainer. Like, Josh Kelly, absolutely. Plus matchup. Gonna get a ton of volume. No, completely backfired in
Shame.
our face. So,
Shame.
Yeah, that's on me and
Shame.
Shaun. That's early milk.
You didn't listen to our advice.
The
That
Twitter
was great.
Warriors came
Okay,
after me
that's it
today for
buys and
highlighting
sells.
that. In fantasy, game environment and game matchups do matter for whether you start people. And their Twitter Warriors with like their favorite players as their Avies are coming after me. Like, well, the dude sucks at football. Like, that's never matters. It's not part of the process to think about matchups. You play good people. I'm like, okay, whatever, dude. Like, Sauce Gardner fan page. Like, leave me alone. Get a life.
Go easy.
Yeah, it's really not how it works, though. Matchups are highly, highly important. Okay, we've covered that for like 50 minutes. That's some good stuff here on
That's really good.
on buys and sells.
Let's talk about our
fellas.
bad recommendations.
Yeah, fellas,
It's
Do we have another 50
It's
minutes
time.
allotted?
it's time.
Milk was a bad choice.
Okay, so I covered some good ones. I had Amari Cooper as my fade at wide receiver. Amari Cooper's #good at football, but Keegan said to sell him, so maybe that milk was a bad choice. Still alive. I had Justin Fields as my biggest flag plant of all quarterbacks heading into the season. I thought
it's not too late. No, don't do that yet.
I
Please,
thought
not
him.
him.
I thought
You want to
him
give it
was
another
gonna-
week? Come on, you keep
Yes.
doing this every week, and you're like, well, it's
No.
not yet. It's not
One
yet.
more. One more.
One
no,
more.
one
I can't
more.
do it. I can't do it.
One
I
more.
can't do it. I can't do it. I cannot do it. This guy, I was really enamored with ceiling, and the ceiling was so enticing with Fields. Hey, he can make a step as a pass catcher when they add in DJ Moore and Chase Claypool and Darnell Mooney's healthy, and they have Roshan Johnson, and they made these additions to the offensive line. Well, I didn't understand the floor case, right, where their offensive line is falling apart and is in shatters. Their offensive play calling, which was inept to start the season, turned it around and is now inept again. So it's just like I just assumed rational coaching. I assumed offensive line performances, and I assumed play catching increases in terms of like playmaker weaponry around him. And so far through 3 weeks, none of that has materialized. He has not developed as a passer, and
One more week.
I don't know, man.
One more week.
I'm gonna admit defeat is my number one flag plant. All right, that's admitting defeat. Whether or not he could be a good fantasy quarterback that you're playing week in and week out, because he's not. It's not like he's been like 3 points and 3 points. He's been okay, whatever.
It's been
it
like
hasn't
10,
been great,
15,
but
yeah.
he's got. I think it was 14. I don't know what he did this week, but it's milk. It's like the milk expired yesterday, and I'm still using it for the cereal. I'm gonna get away with it, so we'll see if it works. But I also said don't start Jerome Ford. He did nothing on the ground, but he had a goal line TD and then caught a really nasty touchdown running like a sluggo route. So Jerome Ford did his thing against the Titans. And I also had Luke Musgrave as my sit of the week and Kyle Pitts as my start. And he outscored Kyle Pitts. In my notes here, I have Kyle Pitts is droppable at this point.
Wow.
You'll never do it. I'll never do it.
I'll never do it, but
You can't.
he's droppable at this
You
point.
can't.
So
you can't.
those are my takes that I'm airing out because it's, you know what? Look, a lot of people have been victory lapping on Twitter. All right, and if you've made it this far in this episode, we appreciate you. Make sure to subscribe. Shout out the Regression to the Mean Network, the Mean Team. We appreciate you. But everyone likes to victory lap their takes. But at the end of the day, learning from our failures, learning from our bad takes is how we're going to get better and how we're going to help you win. So that's why we're airing this out here with Mr. Ron Burgundy. Milk is a bad choice. But that's it. I'm airing it out. I'm done. Passing it off. Who's ready to own up to some of their bad takes?
I'll just get through this because
Yeah, get in there, Keegan.
I did not have a good week. I'll start with the good. What's good is 2 of my recommendations for starts have not played yet. So I'm going to take a win on those. Matt Stafford and Dallas Goedert. And I'll know this for the future. I didn't even think of them playing Monday night, but knowing that we're recording this on Monday, I'll try and have better.
Genius. I'm only taking Monday guys now.
But basically,
so I can't
so
even defeat.
Get some off
clean
the
there.
hook.
But also staying positive, I also did say to start CJ Stroud this week. So
Me too.
I'm going to, you did too. So we'll take
My
that.
start of the week.
I had Miles Sanders in there. It took a while, but he got
in
home
the end
and
zone.
had a decent game. And now for the bad. Let's talk about Zach Moss. Here's the thing.
We tried to tell you, Keith.
You guys looked at me funny, and you were right. I was looking stupid. I wish I would have. I wish I would have thought a little bit more about this. Turns out a really banged up defense of some of your best players really hurts your ability to stop the run. The guy had an 85.7 running back rush share today. Also posted a 7.1 target share. He was just absolutely crushing between tackles, like going for 4 or 5 yards a pop every time he touched the ball.
Beast.
With every run, I felt like my milk was like curdling, just like slightly every bit with every run that he had. So that was a bad take. Drake London, start of the week at wide receiver for me. I highlighted this earlier.
You had it tough this week. You had it tough.
Dude, the shittiest part, I mean, Drake London had 38 pass attempts. 38 pass attempts. Only 6 of those targets found their way to Drake London for a 15% target share in a week that Jonnu Smith was their second target share leader. So, yeah, that was great. Whopping 31 yards, an atrocious 5.17 yards per target for Drake London this week. So, yeah, that was bad. I also thought Nico Collins was going to get home at the wide receiver position. 3 targets, 2 receptions, 34 yards.
This is tough.
Pretty strong yards per target, over 10 this week, but it was the Tank Dell game, like Nico just kind of, you could say, regressed to the mean a little bit.
Yes.
Shout out.
I did say sit DeAndre Hopkins. That seems like a good call. I also said to sit Jordan Love, and you know what? If we would have stopped at halftime, that would have been the best call of the weekend. He gets
But
home
we
with
didn't.
If we
He
would
gets home with a rushing touchdown.
that would have been good. 3 quarters, and
Dude,
that's a goal.
his 2-point conversion was so fucking sick.
2-point conversion,
the
gets the rushing touchdown.
Look
like-
at Aidan. Look at it.
What's so funny?
You were just we like that fucking 2-point conversion. That look on your face was
All I
amazing.
wrote in my notes was they had him dead to rights. This was the right
Dead.
call. It was the right call. I didn't know Derek Carr leaving the game would have such a mental impact on the rest of the Saints. It was a tough week for the kid. I'd love to say that I helped people out, but if anything, I just hurt people. And for that, I'm sorry. But hey, pro tip, Aidan and Shaun, if you don't want to air out that many takes, just accidentally recommend guys that won't have played yet by the time you record.
I'm gonna
Dude,
do that.
you recommended DeVon Achane. I remember that. You were like all over that start.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah,
thanks,
Keegan
dude.
made me. My milk wasn't as bad this week. The quarterback was like fully rotten though. Yeah, I said to sit. He was QB6, dude. He might just be good. He might just be good. All right, you guys happy? He might just be good. It's awful, dude.
He said he was QB6, dude.
He's like,
He
I
might-
can't poke any more holes. I can't do it.
He might just be good, dude. I don't know how, like the first 3 quarters were everything to me. I was like, step on their throats in
You
Lambeau.
were sending off some happy texts. You were
These
like, yeah.
stinky cheesehead fans deserve to be miserable. And here comes Jordan Love, fired up, so much passion. I was like, once they got the 2-point
pirate is
conversion, I was like, they're gonna win. They're gonna win by 1 point. The analytic nerds win this round. So Jordan Love, that's
because they went
milk.
for 2.
Yeah.
It was so genius
Matt
to go.
LaFleur, eat
LaFleur
shit,
was
dude.
in his bag, dude. LaFleur was in
Eat
his
shit, dude. And then I'm once again on the wrong side of Dak Prescott. I'm done recommending Dak. Either way, Dak Prescott, dude. What did I do to you? What did I do to you? You had a layup. Daniel Jones just QB1 them. You're in a dome, my friend. You're in a dome. You
Dak was running for his life. He
Shit.
looked.
Dude, just
looked
completely
confused.
shit down his leg, bro. It's like
Oh my
QB 16. That was tough. No, the QB.
Dude, Brandon
I couldn't-
Cooks looked so cooked. Oh my goodness, Brandon
But,
Cooks looked so bad.
What else did I do? Running back was okay. ETN was good. I said ETN. I said to sit Damien, and I stand by that. If he doesn't get a 1-yard
Dude, I gotta
rushing
go.
touchdown, he's probably like running back 30. Okay, he had like what I think it was 12 carries for like 30 yards. I stand by that. I don't care if he's running back 15. It's a bad running back week. Zay Flowers was fine. He didn't quite burst like we thought he was going to, but the weather wasn't great. Marquise Brown might be weekly startable. That's on me. Josh
Didn't you start
Dobbs,
this segment by saying my milk
I
wasn't
did
that
pretty
bad?
good. He does
Yeah.
this every time. He's like, I'm 0 for 8, but yeah, my milk wasn't too
yeah,
bad.
no, the milk
I
gets
crushed
worse
it.
as I go on. No, Marquise Brown, yeah, no, another good week. Fell into the end zone, had a pretty healthy day.
Okay, so is Josh Jobs good? Like, what's going on here? Because he looks fucking electric. He just did
don't know.
really well against, like, by far and away the best defense in the
They
NFL.
need to
or
pull him
supposedly.
aside and tell him.
I mean, that win
messing
was.
up the tank.
I mean,
Messing up the tank.
The Bears are closing in on Caleb here. Over
Oh,
the Cardinals,
dude,
that is.
the Panthers and the Bears being 0-3, we're looking at 2 top 5 picks officially. We are looking at it. Tight end though, veteran move on my part. Dallas Goedert tomorrow, Tyler Higbee tomorrow. So absolutely
there we
dodged a tight end. If anything good or bad happens, I'm not responsible. Because yeah, we already did milk. So yeah, no, pretty chill milk segment over here from your resident Chicago Bears fan. Yeah.
Oh, man. Jail.
You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail. Slow, jail.
I have one I want to do just kind of for funsies. Brandon Staley needs to be fired.
Gotta go.
I don't care if they
Gotta
won that game. I don't care if they won that game, dude. You cannot keep getting away
Gotta
with these
go.
play calls. 4th and 1 on your own 25 up 4 with like 2 minutes left. Does like
No
this
reason.
like
0-2.
like counter with Josh Hill at the fullback position. I was like, there is no
Dude,
way.
And
He-
it wasn't even close.
it was
Like,
not
wasn't
even close. He belongs
I
in
had-
jail.
I had him. I had the Cowboys in fantasy jail for not
And
being
the
able to
Cowboys.
score in the red zone today. Like, what was that? That was
Yeah, dude,
disgusting.
getting beat by Josh Dobbs. They're not scheming the guy like with Spy on their defense.
the
Like
breaks
Rico
beat off
Dowdle
of that.
touches.
Dude, our guy Rondell
Rakes.
Moore. Oh my god.
I'd also
No,
like
that
to
was-
send Tannehill there just because he's awful. That offense is going to do nothing with Ryan Tannehill. Like, dude, he got 13
Old
for
Yeller.
25, 104 yards. He barely cleared 100 yards. 5 sacks. He's like no longer mobile. The arm doesn't work. Nothing's good.
He
there, man.
He needs to get off the field. It's like abuse watching him behind that offensive line.
I want Mayo Boy or Malik Willis. I've had enough of Ryan Tannehill.
Oh, jeez. I had who else did I have here for fantasy? Oh, Matt Canada. What is Matt Canada's
Does
deal?
he want to
like,
win?
what is that guy's deal? Like, I'm gonna keep it a stack with you guys. What the fuck is that guy doing? Dude, there are 5 minutes left, and the Raiders just march downfield. They score a touchdown, get the 2-point conversion. There is an 8-point game. And this man, Matt Canada, he dials up a pass, a Najee Harris 2nd and 10 run, and another pass, and he burns legit 36 seconds off the clock. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what is the plan? What are we doing? And they're 2-1, and he got promoted to QB coach. I don't get it, man. He must have dirt on Tomlin. Shout out Diego.
He knows where the bodies are.
Oh my God. I don't get why Matt Canada still has a job. That one isn't affecting me too much for fantasy purposes, but just from a football perspective, that's football jail. And yeah, Brandon Staley, dude, you were begging to lose this game today.
Begging to lose his job. That feels like something that if you lose, like, he actually might have gotten fired, dude. That is inexcusable to go for it there. Inexcusable.
Your offense is not. Oh my goodness. And if you're gonna go for it, just keep it in Herbert's hands. Their best play all day has been Herbert to Keenan Allen.
Huge.
Herbert had the best completion percentage ever today for a quarterback who attempted like over 40 attempts or whatever it was. And you're taking the ball out of his hands to give it to Joshua Kelly, who is dog water, all right? Dog water.
He is not who we
good.
He was. He is not.
He's hashtag not good. In back-to-back matchups,
I need a refund on that.
Trash can. Oh my God.
You think they give out food stamps if you return players back to the waivers? I just need something. I'll even take those little box tabs you used to collect on like snack
Those
boxes.
are so much fun, bro.
For Josh Kelly.
It's like
That's
the
what he's
aluminum
worth.
cans. So.
Yeah. You think if I donate enough cans, I'll get a free
You might get a free Six Flags. You might get to go to Six Flags. For
Josh Kelly, hold on. Josh Kelly had 11 carries for 12 yards today.
Tell us what he did last week. Tell us what he did last week.
Hold on. Let me look.
Tell us what he did last week.
Max bid.
Max bid.
Okay, let's get out of here, boys.
Oh, God.
Oh, wow. Keegan, before we jump, anything you got to say to the listeners?
Man, don't be afraid to hashtag confirm your priors and victory lap a little bit in fantasy football. Have some fun with it. A lot of hate on victory lapping. Have some fun. I'm enjoying my DeVon Achane victory laps right now. Hashtag confirm your priors, baby.
3-down workers. Aidan, you got anything to say to the people at home?
Yeah, big game next week. Denver coming into town. We're looking to turn the season around. So everyone, we're home underdogs against a team that just lost by 50 points. The game was strap them up and get ready to go to war. Yeah. Oh my.
Oh, that's it. Thank you, everybody. And until next time.